Thank you. The U.S. Congress is coming back into session after the summer recess, and there are a number of top issues making headlines. So joining us now is House Speaker Mike Johnson. Mr. Speaker, it's great to have you this morning. We really appreciate it.
Great to be with you.
You have a very busy week coming up. I know there are a number of things that you're going to tackle on the agenda, but I do want to ask you about some of the turmoil at the CDC first. The director has been fired, some top officials walking off the job at odds with Jr.'s vaccine policies. Is this the change that you wanted to see? And what do you expect could be happening in the coming days?
Well, I think overall, Kennedy's doing a great job. There's been a shakeup that's been needed there, and I think we got to trust the Secretary to do his job. They've had some great results there. We're getting America healthy again. That's well across the country and long overdue, in my view. So we're going to let the Cabinet do their job, and I'm going to stay in my lane and do mine.
But with this concern, does this turmoil only add to the deterioration of confidence in the CDC? And there is some concern that if the vaccine policies change or they're not recommended, then insurance companies won't provide coverage, and that could mean people who want them may not have access. Does that worry you?
We'll have to see how all that sorts out. The CDC plays an important role in the government and in our society, and we want it to be strong, and we want it to be restored to its original intent. The Secretary's made a good point that the existing leadership was not doing that. So we'll see who the replacement is. I don't know who that is yet, but it obviously plays an important function, and we'll have to see how it plays out.
Let's turn to the big, beautiful bill. That was a big accomplishment for the Republicans, for
Sure.
President Trump. The president himself, though, is talking openly about rebranding it because it has been so far quite unpopular. A recent Pew survey shows that only 32% of Americans approve of it. Why do you think many Americans still aren't quite on board?
Well, I'm not surprised by that number at all, because the Democrat Party and the mainstream media spent a lot of time trying to discredit the bill. The individual components of it, when they're polled, are wildly popular. And so what we did over the August district work period is all the Republican members of Congress, Senate, and House went out, fanned out across the country in their districts, and talked with the American people about the extraordinary provisions that it is aptly named. It is big and it is beautiful, and every single American is going to benefit from it. It was written for lower and middle class earners, and they're going to have higher wages, more opportunity. The U.S. economy is going to grow, and that was the whole point of it. We had the largest tax cuts in U.S. in the bill and the largest savings in history at the same time.
So and some big cuts, though, and even some Republicans concerned about some of them.
Well, no, the cuts were to fraud, waste, and abuse, and they were things that, again, are wildly popular when the American people actually understand what was done. And so the good news, for plenty of time for people to feel the effects of that before they vote in the midterm election that comes, and for us to go out and talk about what's really in the bill and not the fake news about it.
When Congress comes back into session, there will also be a new push for the release of the Epstein files. There have been some critics within your own party. Republican Congressman Thomas Massie is among who've been critical of some of your efforts on this. He's joining a bipartisan effort to try to force a vote on the House floor. How would you respond to that? And do you believe that Americans deserve more transparency on the Epstein issue?
Absolutely. We've been 100% consistent about this forever.
What about a vote on the floor?
If it's necessary, we will. I think what's happened over August, over the last few weeks, has probably mooted the necessity of legislation, because right now the administration is in full compliance with congressional subpoenas. They've submitted over 34,000 Epstein documents to Congress just in the last couple of weeks, and our oversight is going through the deliberative process. We are for maximum transparency. We always have been, but we also have to be careful to protect the innocent victims, and it takes time to do that, to redact the necessary information. You don't want, for example, minors who are subjected to these unspeakable Epstein evil to go through another round of harm. And so that's the protective sort of lens that's being used for this. But everything, we need to be out. We trust the American people to make their own decisions, and they soon have all of that.
So you wouldn't oppose a vote on the floor?
No, we'll move a vote if necessary. But, I mean, right now that process is actually underway, and we're grateful to see it. I mean, I have been very beginning say we want all of it out so long as we protect the innocent.
I want to ask you about another difficult tragedy. We saw the school shooting in Minnesota. There are so many of these, and there's growing frustration that whenever something like this happens, but the politicians are failing to get anything done. Do you have any plans this time, in the wake of this latest tragedy, to propose new legislation or anything that relates to gun violence or mental health?
Let me be real clear about this. I mean, everybody in America is heartbroken over this disaster. It's the latest in a string, and It's just terrible. Our gratitude goes out to law enforcement, the first responders, and our prayers go out for the families and everybody involved in that. We saw the father of that little boy, the 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel, who lost his life, give some just heart-wrenching remarks yesterday, showing strength. But listen, important that politicians on either side of the aisle do not politicize a moment like this. There are many common sense measures that can and should be taken to protect children at schools that do not involve taking away the constitutional rights of law-abiding American citizens. At the end of the day, the problems in these situations is not the guns, it's the human heart. And we can put more resources towards treatment of mental health. Obviously, this terrible, evil person who did this was suffering from serious mental health issues. We've got to be on guard to make sure that we can foresee that and prevent it and then harden our facilities. There's a lot of things that could be done.
But will we see something this session do you plan on proposing?
Look, we're open to any bipartisan solution that can address these kinds of issues that actually go to the heart of the matter. You know, we're always open for that.
Speaker Johnson, we always appreciate your time.
See you.
Will